Imagine the greatest footballer of all time, in his final World Cup, admitting that a teenager knows better than him, then crying in the teenager's arms after losing everything. This is the shocking moment that left 2 billion football fans speechless and questioning everything they thought they knew about Ronaldo's legacy. The press conference was supposed to be routine. Portugal had just secured their place in the round of 16 at the 2026 World Cup, and Cristiano Ronaldo was fielding questions about the upcoming clash with Spain. This was Ronaldo's 6th World Cup, a record no other player had ever achieved. At 41 years old, he had already confirmed this would be his last dance on the world stage. But then came the question that changed everything. "Mr. Ronaldo, what do you think about Lamine Yamal?" The room fell silent. Everyone knew that Yamal was the rising star of Spanish football, the 18-year-old who had already beaten both Ronaldo and Lionel Messi's records with his first World Cup goal. Many expected Ronaldo to brush off the question. After all, he was the GOAT, the 5-time Ballon d'Or winner, the man who had conquered Europe and shattered records across 3 decades. But what Ronaldo said next caught everyone off guard. "Lamine Yamal has a very bright future. He's doing very well, and his future will be great," Ronaldo said, his voice measured but sincere. "He is a phenomenon. He has a very promising future, and he is performing very well. I think his future will be bright." The room erupted. Journalists scrambled to type. Cameras zoomed in on Ronaldo's face. Had the greatest footballer of all time just called a teenager a phenomenon? Had he just admitted that this 18-year-old was destined for greatness? Then Ronaldo went even further. He started giving Yamal advice about how to survive the pressure of being the best. Yamal needs to get used to criticism as quickly as possible if he wants to have a long career, Ronaldo warned. "If you succumb to criticism, you're finished." But the most shocking words were still to come. What made Ronaldo's words truly shocking wasn't just what he said, it was what he was trying to protect Yamal from. Ronaldo had endured unimaginable pressure throughout his career. The criticism, the expectations, the endless comparisons to Lionel Messi. He knew exactly what Yamal was about to face, and he was terrified for the teenager. "Difficult moments will come, and that's normal. It's part of human nature," Ronaldo said. "I'm sure you also sometimes wake up and don't feel like working, even if you love what you do. That's normal. And in football, as you can imagine, with constant criticism, it sometimes becomes even harder." The message was clear. Ronaldo wasn't just praising Yamal, he was warning him. The 18-year-old Barcelona superstar was about to be thrown into the same meat grinder that had nearly broken Ronaldo himself. But Ronaldo also offered a surprising piece of advice that no one expected. "Focus on the love from the fans, the passion of the supporters, and the atmosphere inside the stadium," Ronaldo said. "That's what I learned over time. Connect with the people who truly love you. If you succumb to criticism, you're finished." For a player who had been criticized for his ego and his intensity throughout his career, these words were deeply personal. Ronaldo was admitting that the pressure of being the best had taken its toll, and that he didn't want Yamal to suffer the same way. Then came the most shocking confession of all. Ronaldo admitted that Yamal already knows more about the game than he does. "He knows better than me. I'm not a coach. What the team needs," Ronaldo said. "He has already won several things with Spain. What else do you want me to tell you?" The football world couldn't believe what they were hearing. The most confident player in history had just admitted that a teenager might understand the game better than him. The Spain versus Portugal match was billed as more than just a World Cup knockout game. It was a symbolic passing of the torch. On one side stood Ronaldo, the all-time greatest goalscorer in football history, playing his final World Cup match at 41 years old. On the other side stood Lamine Yamal, the 18-year-old prodigy who had already become Spain's most important player. The contrast couldn't have been starker. Ronaldo had been playing professional football before Yamal was even born. The Portuguese legend had won 5 Ballon d'Or awards, 5 Champions League titles, and a European championship with Portugal. Yamal had just celebrated his 18th birthday and was making his World Cup debut. But Yamal had already achieved something Ronaldo never could. He had won a World Cup with Spain, and his nation was dominating the tournament. The pressure on Yamal was immense, but Ronaldo had seen something special in the teenager. "Lamine is a player with a very bright future," Ronaldo said. "But I always see Spain as a complete team, not just through one player. They are a very strong national team. They play beautiful football, and tomorrow's match will be very difficult. Ronaldo knew that beating Spain meant stopping Yamal. But he also knew that no matter what happened in the match, the teenager was destined for greatness. The Portuguese captain had been around long enough to recognize true talent, and he was seeing it in Yamal. Yamal has class and a bright future, Ronaldo said. But I want to see Spain as a team. They are playing very well. The match itself was tense and dramatic. Spain defeated Portugal 1-0 in the round of 16, with Mikel Merino scoring a stoppage-time winner that sent Spain into the quarterfinals and ended Ronaldo's World Cup dreams forever. Ronaldo, 41, had done everything he could. He played the full 90 minutes, but he struggled to influence the contest. His best effort was comfortably saved by goalkeeper Unai Simon. As the final whistle sounded, contrasting emotions were visible across the pitch. Spain's players celebrated wildly, while Ronaldo stood motionless on the Dallas Stadium turf, tears streaming down his face. This was it, the end of an era. Ronaldo's final World Cup had ended in heartbreak. But then something extraordinary happened, something that would define the tournament and capture the hearts of football fans around the world. Lamine Yamal walked away from his celebrating teammates and embraced Ronaldo. The image went viral within minutes. The 18-year-old prodigy, who had just eliminated Ronaldo from the World Cup, was consoling the man he had grown up watching. Yamal put his arms around the weeping legend and gave him a warm hug. Lamine Yamal consoled an emotional Cristiano Ronaldo after Portugal's World Cup exit, news outlets reported. The Barcelona star showed class beyond his years, embracing the Portuguese captain as his international career ended without the coveted World Cup title. The moment was captured by photographers and immediately spread across social media. Football fans around the world were stunned. This wasn't just a moment of sportsmanship, it was a passing of the torch. One era had ended, and another had begun. Ronaldo's words about Yamal weren't just praise. They were a confession. A year earlier, after Portugal defeated Spain in the Nations League final, Ronaldo had said something even more revealing, something that foreshadowed everything that happened at the World Cup. Lamine is going to win many titles, collective and individual. He's a phenomenon, Ronaldo said after the Nations League final. He's only 17 years old. I repeat, he is a boy with a lot of room for progression. Then came the words that shocked everyone. He knows better than me. I'm not a coach. What the team needs, Ronaldo admitted. He has already won several things with Spain. What else do you want me to tell you? If the coach made the decision, it was because he thought it was the best thing to improve his team. For a player who had been accused of arrogance throughout his career, this was an extraordinary admission of humility. Ronaldo was acknowledging that Yamal, a teenager, might already understand the game better than he did. The Portuguese legend, who had never backed down from a challenge, was conceding that the next generation had surpassed him. And then came Ronaldo's plea to the world. Please, leave him alone. I have to ask you to let him be. He has to be calm. It was the most shocking thing he could have said, and football fans still can't stop talking about it. The man who had faced more criticism than almost any athlete in history was begging the world not to do the same to his young rival. For Cristiano Ronaldo, defeat against Spain meant the closing chapter of a remarkable international career. He had confirmed before the match that this was his final World Cup appearance. The Al Nassr forward leaves the World Cup stage having already achieved enormous success with Portugal, including victories at the 2016 European Championship and the UEFA Nations League in both 2019 and 2025. Yet the World Cup remained the one major title missing from his collection. In his 6 World Cup appearances, Ronaldo had never lifted the trophy. The dream that had driven him for over 2 decades was never realized. This was my last World Cup, yes, but I'll now have time to reflect and be with my family, Ronaldo said after the match. I won't be making any rash decisions. Ronaldo also reflected on his legacy with the national team, pointing to Portugal's major trophies during his international career. I've won 3 titles for Portugal. Before Cristiano Ronaldo, Portugal hadn't won a single title, he said. The biggest title the national team has ever won was in 2016, the European Championship, which, to be honest, is just as significant to me as a World Cup. But the moment that defined Ronaldo's final World Cup wasn't about titles or records. It was about a moment of sportsmanship that transcended the sport. It was about a teenager showing respect to a legend, and a legend showing humility to a teenager. Chapter 7. The legacy continues. The image of Lamine Yamal embracing Cristiano Ronaldo may become one of the lasting memories of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. It was a moment that symbolized the changing of the guard in world football. As Spain won the World Cup, defeating Argentina in the final, the torch was officially passed to a new generation. For Yamal, this was just the beginning. At 19, he had already won the European Championship and the World Cup, an achievement that took Ronaldo his entire career to even approach. The teenager was now the face of a new era, joining Kylian Mbappe, Erling Haaland, and Jude Bellingham as the future of football. But Yamal would never forget the advice Ronaldo gave him. Focus on the love from the fans, the passion of the supporters, and the atmosphere inside the stadium, Ronaldo had said. If you succumb to criticism, you're finished. Ronaldo's words to Yamal weren't just about football. They were about surviving the pressure of being the best. The Portuguese legend had learned that lesson the hard way, and he was determined to protect Yamal from the same pain. In the end, the story of Ronaldo and Yamal at the 2026 World Cup was about more than just football. It was about respect. It was about sportsmanship. And it was about one legend passing the torch to the next generation, with tears in his eyes and hope in his heart. Football fans will never forget what Ronaldo said about Yamal. But more importantly, they will never forget what Yamal did when Ronaldo needed him most.